Hello YouTube family. These are the supplies you'll need for your kitchen cupboard garden. Make sure you get your seeds from a reputable health food store or a place online that is certified. You put your seeds in water, filtered water, overnight, and that's what they'll look like. Then all you do is just pour out that water. And as you see, you're going to have to really empty it and shake it a lot to get that water out because it tends to want to stick in that little recess in the lid. So just shake it. You could even put it on a kitchen towel if you wanted to, but I just shake it until no drops come out. And then you put it in a shallow bowl so that there can still be plenty of air circulation. So why eat organic sprouts? Because they contain up to 100 times more natural enzymes than raw vegetables and fruit. That's number one. And they're a source of sunlight energy or biophotons for your body's processes. And there's all kinds of sprouts that you can do. These are broccoli sprouts. And also I really like sunflower sprouts. But these are just pure broccoli sprouts, 2 tablespoons. And you tilt it up so that the water will drain off the seeds. You don't want any water collecting. And then you put it under your cupboard. And on day 2, you will start to see little tiny green specks in there. They're awake and they're going to sprout for you. So on day 2, you rinse them with the filtered water, shaking out all the excess water. And just take a look at them and just notice how some of them are waking up. And then you put it back under the cupboard. And making sure there's no contaminants in your cupboard. Don't put it in along with anything else that has any chemicals in it or anything. Make sure it's just a cupboard with nothing in it. And make sure there's, a certain amount of airflow also in that cupboard, not a little tiny cubby hole. On day 3, they've got a surprise for you. They're starting to get little tiny tails. Look, they're starting to grow. Looks like little fuzzies in there. But that's the little sprouts coming to life. It really is something when you think about all that's taking place in those tiny little seeds. Each one of those could potentially grow up to be a large broccoli plant. And they have all the growing potential locked inside that little tiny, tiny seed. Focus. So, as you go with day 3, you rinse them off and use the filtered water. Make sure that there's no water in the jar. Shake it as much as possible to get that effect. And then tilt it on its side in that container and put it under the cupboard again. And do that 2 or 3 times a day. Little tiny seeds. That's my dog Sheldon. He wants in. Every time I film, he wants in. Alright, come on. And on day 4, look. Isn't this unbelievable? Look at those seeds. They all have started to bloom. Well, I should say, from their seeds. And just as a matter of fact, there will be some seeds that don't propagate. So, you have to take that into consideration. Not every single seed will turn into a sprout. There's some that just aren't viable. But the majority of them will. And you rinse them off with the filtered water, shake off all the excess water, and then put them back under the cupboard and do it 2 or 3 times a day. Look what happens on day 5. It's almost unbelievable. See? They're starting to look like little plants. Those, they start shedding their little shell, their little seed shell, and that is what makes the problem too, because it will start to ferment. So you don't want to keep that shell in there for too long. Rinse it off. On day 6, you've got an unbelievable mound. And at this point, I rinse it off thoroughly, and on day 6 overnight, I put it under a grow light, just one that you get at Walmart, you know. And I then in the morning, I rinse them off, making sure that I get as much of those hulls off as possible. You just rinse them up and down, then you just after put them in a container that you can keep in the refrigerator. I use one of those green containers that make things last longer, but the grow light breaks out the green in them, and that's about 1.5 cups of sprouts, and it will last me 2 or 3 days. And you really shouldn't keep them any longer than that. And I always use my sprouts in cooked food, and I cook my sprouts thoroughly because of the dangers involved. So you can add your sprouts to soup, stews, stir fries. It just takes everything one step above what is ordinary. And there's my soup. Ordinary soup, it just adds an extra amount of flavor and deliciousness, and you'll love it. This has chicken soup with broccoli in it, and it just adds to it. I hope you'll try it, and try some of the other sprouts too. Yes, it's really yummy. See you later. Thank you.